in terms of the real estate, I try to focus on 4 specific kind of avenues. One is education. A lot of the videos that I post are about educating sellers on how to prepare their home if they are looking to sell it. For buyers, what they need to do to start building up that either pool of money that they will need or the certain documents that they need to start kind of focusing on, kind of just the plans of how to get going in real estate.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the GC 360 podcast, filmed right here at Garden City, New York Media Studios, right here in downtown Garden City, New York. I'm your host, Catherine O'Connell. The spring season is here and the flowers are blooming. According to the National Association of Realtors, the spring season stimulates more activity in the housing market and is generally one of the best seasons for purchasing a new home. However, as most of 2023, people, especially first-time buyers, continue to be unable to afford home ownership due to a combination of historically limited housing supply, high mortgage rates, and persistently high property prices. Joining me in studio to discuss the state of the real estate market and what first-time homebuyers can expect this season is our guest, Realtor Kyle Cheng.
Hi.
Hey, Kyle. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Catherine, for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kyle Cheng provides stability in a crazy real estate world and is recognized as a top 100 New York agent on social media. So Kyle, thank you so much for joining me, and please tell us about yourself and how you started in real estate.
Absolutely. So this is my 9th year in real estate.
Wow.
And I like to frame my start in real estate as something that happened by accident and by force. What that necessarily means is that in 2015, at the time, I was unemployed, planning a wedding with my then girlfriend and now wife, and spending my time, as most New Yorkers do, watching a lot of HGTV, watching $1 Million Listing, being kind of intrigued by the real estate world. And that was kind of my wife's way of telling me, hey, you watch all these things about real estate. You seem to talk about real estate quite a lot. Why don't you go ahead and become an agent? In fact, I'll take my test with you. And so that was the by force portion of it. The by accident was something that my father kind of taught me as I was growing up. Every 2 years or so, we would kind of move ever since the age of 11. So from 11 to 13, we moved out of my childhood home. At 13, we moved into another house. At 15, I moved into another house. And it was actually my father's way of investing in real estate. So he's been an investor in real estate and has kind of showed me that specific side of the real estate world. And from that, by accident, I was always kind of involved in the real estate business.
That's great. So it's kind of like you had a little bit of extra background on it. So can you tell us how you use social media as a realtor?
Sure, absolutely. So social media today is, for lack of a better term, a distraction. And it's all about the game of attention. And as a realtor, there are approximately 34,000 other realtors in our market, as it is in the entire Queens and Long Island area. And so I need to devise a way that I can capture as much attention as possible in the quickest amount of time possible. And social media has been able to provide that for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that you're in the top 100. That's a really huge accomplishment. So what kind of content do you like to create? What kind of content do you post about real estate?
Absolutely. So in terms of the real estate, I try to focus on 4 specific kind of avenues. One is education. A lot of the videos that I post are about educating sellers on how to prepare their home if they are looking to sell it. For buyers, what they need to do to start building up that either pool of money that they will need or the certain documents that they need to start kind of focusing on, kind of just the plans of how to get going in real estate. I give investment tips on it, and then I also will talk about the process from, getting your home on the market to getting it sold. The other things that I kind of focus on are humor, for one. I like to definitely entertain, and that's part of that attention grabbing aspect of social media. I think a lot of realtors the ones that do embrace that see a lot of success, and the ones that kind of run away from it, they tend to kind of be in the same lane over and over again, and probably think social media is more of a task than it is an actual tool for them. The other two things that I do, humor, and then we also do inspiration. I try to share a lot of my stories, whether it's client reviews or difficult deals, difficult days in the real estate industry. I think a lot of people don't really understand the job of being a real estate agent, and maybe they're a little jaded to the idea of it. So I like to share a lot of the behind the scenes of what's going on there. And then the rest is houses. I share property. This is a great way for people to get into homes before they even hit the market. 97% of all home purchases start online these days. So having that kind of social media back end for me is a great way to kind of get property out in front of people.
Yeah, it sounds really informative. I personally checked it out and I think it's great. I was laughing. It's very entertaining and very informative. I think a lot of people don't really know a lot of those things. I personally don't know really anything about purchasing a home. So I think that's really helpful. So what would be your advice to someone who is looking to buy a home?
Sure, absolutely. So anyone that's looking to buy a home, whether it's the first time, second time, or 100th time that they're really kind of getting ready into it, the one thing that people tend to focus on is what is interest rates. You had said before, higher interest rates right now compared to what they were maybe 3 or 4 years ago, maybe even compared to what they were 10 years ago. The interest rate is always going to be going up and down, and prices will always be going up and down. The one thing that buyers right now that I'm working with and advising on, they really need to be focusing on monthly payment. Now, monthly payment is going to be dictated by how much debt you're taking on, which is the size of the mortgage that you're getting. And then also it'll be determined by what other debt you already have. A lot of people have college loans, credit card payments, car payments, things of that nature. You also have to think about the things after you close, like your utilities, your lifestyle. I tend to let people know that they should be ready to spend anywhere from 2 to 3% of their purchase price annually after they've actually owned the house. And this way, it gives them a benchmark of kind of to be prepared for all of these kind of costs going into it. Just don't focus so much on the interest rate in itself. Your monthly payment and what your monthly costs are going to be are the things that are going to really dictate whether you are ready or not to buy a home.
Yeah, that sounds very eye-opening. And how would you advise somebody who's looking to sell their home?
I mean, anyone looking to sell their home, obviously hire me. That's the best thing that you do for you. But the reality of it is that, whether you're buying or selling a home, you don't need a realtor to do that. Right? It is a transaction. So what sellers need are a buyer, what buyers needs are a home. I'm that kind of facilitator in the middle. And so if you've been paying attention to news recently, the National Association of Realtors on Friday settled a massive class action lawsuit, $418 million, going back to sellers that felt that they were obligated to pay out compensation to buyers' agents. And that's traditionally kind of what the idea has been. There is an agent that represents the listing, there's an agent that represents the buyer, and of course, there's fees and compensation that's associated with that. Now, what people really need to kind of, I think, focus on is they obviously see this big number. Maybe some sellers feel like they've been taken advantage of. But the reality is that as a seller, as someone that's looking to sell a home, what better of a position are you in, whether being with yourself or aligning yourself with realtors, people that are doing this day to day, working in your favor and doing the best that they can to get you the highest number possible for your home. It's almost as if instead of hiring just one agent to do the job for you, you're actually recruiting an entire army of salespeople. And so anyone looking to sell their home in this market today, the things that I would say is really be prepared to have the home open and ready and available. You want to try to depersonalize as much as possible. If you have a very vibrant color like yellow, pink on the walls, try to maybe reduce that to a neutral tone so that when people walk into the home, they immediately feel like it's theirs versus yours. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that was a great point.
Sorry.
That was a great point. Yes, absolutely. So what can you tell us specifically about Garden City real estate and the surrounding areas?
So what I love about Garden City, it definitely has a variety of real estate versus some other kind of suburban neighborhoods. Garden City has both co-ops, condos, as well as, single family and sometimes multifamily residences. Now, to speak to your point before, you had mentioned that inventory is kind of on the lower side. There's approximately maybe 30 homes on the market in Garden City right now. In fact, there's only 11 in neighboring Mineola. So yes, there is definitely truth in that statement that inventory is low. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It really depends on who you are. As a seller, it's a good thing because, price is a dictation of supply and demand. As long as there's a high demand and there's a low supply, prices will always be on the higher side. And so to go back to kind of what makes Garden City kind of this unique area, I mean, it's one of the most desirable places to live. It's convenient if you need to commute into the city. Garden City train station is right here. It's an amazing place to raise a family. We have, very competitive schools in terms of how they rank in the New York State kind of school system and all of that. And so I would say that anyone looking to move into an area like Garden City would be hard pressed to find better homes.
I agree with you. That's great. So what kind of real estate would you say you specialize in?
Sure, absolutely. So I specialize in residential real estate. Residential real estate is property that is been zoned for people to live in. So that's anywhere from co-ops, condos, single family to multifamily residences.
Okay. Do you feel like you've sold more of one or the other? Co-ops, homes?
Sure. I do have a little bit more experience working with apartments, co-ops and condos, co-ops and condos
okay.
especially. Co-ops, I think, are really kind of unique residential property. I think New York is one of the only places where you will actually find a co-op. What it is it's a cooperative. So essentially the building is run like a business. So when you actually purchase a home within a co-op, you're actually purchasing stock and lease. The stock certificate is ownership in the business of the building, and then the proprietary lease is what actually dictates that you are allowed to live in this space as it is.
Okay, so it's definitely different owning a co-op from a home.
Yes.
There's a lot of differentiation, you would say?
Yeah, absolutely. So the main differentiation there is that, instead of having a traditional deed to the property, you have this lease that kind of gives you the right to own and live in it. A lot of co-ops sometimes will restrict kind of subletting, so you wouldn't be able to rent it out or anything like that, depending on the building. Every business, every building will have different rules, different regulations, different boards that dictate those rules and regulations. And so what I like about co-ops, though, is that they are going to be at a completely different price point compared to like a single family home. And if you are a first-time home buyer, chances are that you're still trying to build up your funds, but you're looking for something that's going to help build equity, help you stop paying rent, which is really the main reason why anybody should buy anything. And so having this kind of vehicle is a great step into kind of a first-time home buying situation.
Yeah, so you would definitely recommend that over renting something for a while, because it's definitely helping you to grow financially.
Yeah, as long as it makes sense. I absolutely let people know that renting is totally okay. As a realtor, you're probably calling BS on that. But, I think renting is totally fine. It depends on really what your life and what you're comfortable with. If you're looking to be in a certain area anywhere between 5 to 10 years, especially in Long Island, then getting a plan to purchase something is really, really important to you, because 10 years of paying anywhere from $2,000 to $25,000 to $3,000 per month, $36,000 a year. In 10 years, it's $360,000, and where is that money really going to other than your landlord's pocket?
That's a very good point. Food for thought, everyone. So, what would you say is your favorite thing about being a real estate agent?
Ooh. The favorite thing that the most joy that I get out of being a real estate agent is absolutely the people that I meet. I think that this is one of those kind of unique jobs in which you deal with all types of people, all different types of personalities, whether it's a family buying their first home, whether it's a family selling their first and only home, or even an investor that is there strictly for the numbers, has no emotion in the game whatsoever. Then there's different ways to deal with all these types of different people. So it really kind of tests my humanity a little bit, and it allows me to be a cog in several different machines. And so that's what I really like about real estate.
That's great. So how do you feel your business adds value to the community?
Absolutely. I think that our business as realtors, and mine specifically, adds a lot of value to communities in a way that we can highlight communities like no one else. I love doing, collaborations with local businesses to try to help gain traction for them. If I can bring people into, say, like a local coffee shop and maybe buy them coffee for an hour, that not only gives that business 1 hour of hopefully guaranteed income, but it'll hopefully introduce some people to a new thing, whether they heard about it or they've always wanted to try but never found a good time. What a better time than if someone else is buying you the coffee, right?
Right.
And so then it also helps me, of course, selfishly. It gets me in front of new people and hopefully gets me an opportunity to spark new conversations.
Absolutely. That sounds great. So what would you say the forecast is for this season? And do you think the housing market will finally recover in 2024?
Well, how do you mean recover?
I guess, is there hope for people who are looking to buy a home in this day and age?
Well, listen, one of the best things that's ever been told to me when I first started in real estate is that hope is not a strategy. You can't hope for anything, especially when it comes to the real estate market. Now, in terms of it recovering, I can say that especially in Nassau County, the real estate market has never been stronger. The average price point for a home in Nassau County as of last month was $752,000. So prices have never been higher, which is true, but mainly because the demand is there. And so what I would say to people, whether they're looking to buy or sell right now, is definitely have a plan. It's no longer the days of where, like in 2021, a house just went on the market and everybody wanted it. You have to still work and present yourself in a certain way, whether it's the price point that you're at, the photos that you have, your presence online, what are you doing in terms of your traditional marketing, and getting more attention. It's all about the attention on it. And so I would tell people that spring, you had a great point before, spring is absolutely the time when most people are considering purchasing a home, because the process does take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So if you want to be in a home by the end of summer, now is the time that you're actually kind of looking to buy one. So that's what kind of dictates that seasonality, if you will, for real estate. And I think it's a great time to buy. I think it's a great time to sell. Of course, as a realtor, you would think I would say that, right? But it's really the truth that as long as you are ready and as long as the monthly payments kind of make sense to you, there's no reason for you not to consider it.
That's a great answer. Thank you. So what would you say is the best way for people to reach out to you?
No, absolutely, of course. So if you need to know the state of your real estate, you simply call your agent, Agent Kyle Cheng. You can reach me by phone at 516-983-3250. Of course, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at Agent Kyle Cheng.
Very simple. I love that.
It is. It's easy. Come on, guys, call me.
Yeah, just call him up, DM him something.
There you go.
So,
carrier pigeon. That's my favorite form of communication. So, yeah.
Old school.
Yep.
So is there anything else that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I guess just, don't let fear dictate kind of what's going on right now. There is a lot of information out there. There's AI, there's Zillow, there's Realtor.com. There is so many tools that puts real estate in front directly of consumers, and yet they always still kind of go towards realtors. So know that realtors are simply here to help facilitate, be a resource to you. Whether you're looking for a new dry cleaner, whether you're looking for someone to help you fix your basements, whether you're looking for what are the best playgrounds in Garden City, a real estate agent is going to be that person that knows that information, and the information is always free. So never hesitate to reach out.
That's great. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Thank you, Catherine.
You've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for being here.
Top 10?
Top 10 for sure. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the GC360 podcast. I'm your host, Catherine O'Connell, and we'll see you next time. Bye.